There are moments in your life when nothing on the outside seems different, and yet everything inside you begins to feel unfamiliar. A quiet unease, a subtle awareness, a question that rises without warning and refuses to go back to sleep. You may have felt it recently, that strange pause in your thoughts, that sudden stillness in your spirit, that unexplainable sense that something is about to change. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. And that is why this moment matters more than you realize. Because what is coming is not a disruption of your life, it is a revelation within it. Archangel Michael speaks now, not with noise, not with chaos, but with precision. His presence does not rush you, it surrounds you. And his message is clear. You are standing at the edge of a realization that will alter how you see everything around you. Not just people, not just situations, but everything. The way you interpret silence, the way you read intentions, the way you understand your own path. You have been sensing it, haven't you? That subtle feeling that conversations don't mean what they used to. That certain environments feel heavier than before. That things you once ignored now linger in your mind longer than they should. It's as if your awareness has started stretching beyond what is visible, and now you can't quite return to the way you used to see things. That's not confusion. That's awakening. But here is what you must understand, and this is where the urgency lies. This realization is not random. It is not accidental. And it is not something you can postpone once it begins to unfold. Because once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. And that is exactly why this message found you now. At this exact moment. There is a shift happening. Subtle, quiet, almost invisible, but deeply intentional. It is not happening around you first, it is happening within you. Your perception is being adjusted. Your awareness is being refined. Your spirit is being prepared to recognize something that had been hidden in plain sight for far too long. And here is the truth that may shake you. You have been seeing things but not fully seeing them. You have been hearing things but not fully understanding them. You have been feeling things but not fully trusting them. Until now. Because the moment is approaching where everything begins to align, not in chaos, but in clarity. Not in confusion, but in revelation. And when that moment arrives, it will not come with warning signs or loud announcements. It will come quietly, almost gently, like a thought that lands differently, like a realization that suddenly clicks. And in that instant your perspective will shift. Completely. Archangel Michael is not bringing this message to alarm you. He is bringing it to prepare you. Because what you are about to understand will require strength, awareness, and stillness. It will require you to trust what you feel, even if it challenges what you once believed. And this is why you must stay present now. Because many ignore this moment when it first arrives. Many dismiss the feeling. Many brush it aside as overthinking or imagination. And in doing so, they miss the clarity that was meant to guide them. But you are not meant to miss it. You are meant to recognize it. You are meant to receive it. You are meant to step into it. So pay attention to what you feel from this moment forward. Pay attention to what begins to stand out. Pay attention to what no longer feels aligned the way it once did. Because the shift has already begun. And this is only the beginning of what you are about to see. Type "I am ready to see" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1414 is now surrounding you. There is a reason this message reached you at this exact moment. And it is not something random or accidental that can be brushed aside as coincidence. Out of all the moments in your life, out of all the distractions that could have pulled your attention elsewhere, You are here now, reading this, feeling this subtle pull within your spirit. That pull is not curiosity alone. It is alignment. It is timing. It is something deeper calling you into awareness because you are ready, even if part of you still feels uncertain. Archangel Michael does not interrupt without purpose, and he does not deliver messages to those who are not prepared to receive them. This is not about perfection. It is about readiness of the spirit, a readiness that has been forming quietly within you through everything you have experienced up until now. You may look back and realize that the path leading you here has not been smooth or predictable. There have been moments of confusion, moments where things did not make sense, where people changed, where situations unfolded in ways you did not expect. You may have questioned why certain doors closed, why certain connections faded, why certain answers never came when you were searching for them the most. But what felt like delay was actually preparation. What felt like silence was actually refinement. You were being guided, step by step, toward a level of awareness that could not have been rushed. Because if this realization had come to you earlier, you might not have understood it. You might have dismissed it. You might have resisted it. But now, something within you has shifted enough to recognize that there is more beneath the surface of everything you see. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with clarity, reminding you that being chosen does not mean being singled out for comfort. It means being positioned for truth. And truth requires a certain strength, a certain openness, a willingness to see beyond what is familiar. You have been developing that willingness, even when you did not realize it. Every time you questioned something that did not feel right, every time you paused instead of reacting, every time you felt that quiet sense that there was more to understand, you were moving closer to this moment. You were being prepared to receive insight that others around you may not yet be ready to see. This is why the message feels different. It does not feel like ordinary information. It feels personal. It feels directed. It feels like something is speaking to you rather than at you. That is because it is. This is not meant for everyone at the same time. There are many who will pass by this moment without noticing it, many who will ignore the subtle shift within themselves, many who will continue seeing things exactly as they always have. But you are not being asked to continue as before. You are being invited to step into a new level of awareness, one that requires you to trust what you feel even when it does not yet have clear explanation. There is also a deeper truth you must accept. Being chosen to hear this now means that something is about to be revealed to you that will require discernment. Not everything will appear as it truly is. Not every word spoken around you will carry the meaning it seems to hold. Not every situation will be as simple as it looks on the surface. And this is why preparation is necessary. Because awareness without grounding can lead to confusion, but awareness with guidance leads to clarity. Archangel Michael is guiding you into that clarity, ensuring that as your perception sharpens, you do not become overwhelmed, but instead become steady, observant, and intentional in how you respond to what you begin to notice. You may also begin to understand that your sensitivity has never been a weakness. The way you pick up on subtle changes, the way you notice energy shifts, the way you sense when something is off even without evidence, all of this has been part of your preparation. What you once questioned about yourself is now becoming your strength. You are not imagining things. You are perceiving them. And now, that perception is about to deepen in a way that will change how you interpret everything around you. This moment is a turning point, not because something dramatic is happening externally, but because something significant is aligning internally. You are stepping into awareness with intention, not by force. And once this alignment completes, you will begin to see patterns, connections, and truths that were always there but remained unnoticed. This is why you were chosen to hear this now. Because you are no longer the same as you were before. You are ready to see differently, to understand differently, and to move forward with a clarity that was not available to you until this exact moment. Type "I accept" the timing in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2727 is now activated around you. There is something you must come to terms with now. Something that may feel unsettling at first but carries the power to free you once you truly understand it. The reality you have been moving through, the one you have trusted, responded to, and built your perceptions upon, has not been entirely false, but it has not been entirely true either. There has been a layer, subtle and persistent, shaping how you interpret what you see, what you hear, and what you believe about the people and situations around you. This layer is not obvious. It does not announce itself. It blends into your daily experiences so seamlessly that it feels normal. But Archangel Michael is revealing that what feels normal is not always accurate, and what feels familiar is not always aligned with truth. You have been navigating through patterns that were presented to you over time, patterns formed by repetition, by expectation, by the behavior of others, and even by your own attempts to make sense of things that did not fully resonate within you. You learned how to read situations based on past outcomes. You learned how to interpret silence, how to trust certain tones, how to assume intentions. And while some of these interpretations have served you, others have quietly limited your ability to see deeper. They created a version of reality that feels complete on the surface but lacks the full picture beneath it. This is the illusion, not a dramatic dissection, but a subtle filtering of truth that kept certain things hidden just enough to go unnoticed. Archangel Michael speaks into this with precision, not to create fear, but to awaken clarity. He reveals that the illusion you have been living in is not something forced upon you from the outside alone. It is something that formed gradually, through experiences that condition you to accept what is visible without questioning what lies beneath. This does not mean you were wrong. It means you were learning. But now, the learning phase is shifting into an awakening phase. And in this phase, what you once accepted without question will begin to feel incomplete. You may start noticing inconsistencies, moments where something does not fully align, situations where your initial understanding no longer satisfies the deeper awareness rising within you. This is where many hesitate. This is where many turn away, because recognizing the illusion requires you to admit that what you believe to be stable may not be as solid as it seemed. It requires you to pause and reassess, to look again, to listen more carefully, to feel more deeply. And that can be uncomfortable. It can challenge your sense of certainty. But Archangel Michael reminds you that discomfort in this moment is not a sign of danger. It is a sign of expansion. You are not losing your grounding. You are strengthening it by aligning it with truth rather than assumption. There have been moments, if you reflect honestly, where you sensed that something was not fully clear. A conversation that felt slightly off, even though the words sounded right. A situation that seemed resolved, yet left you with an unexplained feeling. A person whose actions did not completely match their intentions. You noticed these things, but you moved past them, often choosing harmony over deeper inquiry. That choice was not weakness. It was part of your journey. But now, you are being called to observe without dismissing what you sense. Because the illusion begins to dissolve the moment you allow yourself to acknowledge that there is more to see. As this awareness grows, you will begin to understand that not everything around you is meant to be taken at face value. This does not mean becoming suspicious or guarded in a negative way. It means becoming aware. It means recognizing that reality has layers, and that your perception is now being refined to move beyond the surface. You will start to notice patterns you did not see before. You will recognize connections that once seemed unrelated. You will begin to understand why certain situations unfolded the way they did, not from a place of confusion, but from a place of clarity. This is the moment where the illusion starts to lose its hold. Not because it disappears instantly, but because you no longer rely on it to define your understanding. You begin to see through it calmly, steadily, without reaction. And in that stillness, truth becomes clearer. Archangel Michael is guiding you through this process so that you do not feel overwhelmed by what you begin to recognize. He is not asking you to reject everything you once believed. He is asking you to refine it, to expand it, to align it with a deeper awareness that is now ready to emerge within you. What you are experiencing is not a disruption of your reality, but a correction of it. You are not losing clarity. You are gaining a more complete version of it. And as this unfolds, you will realize that the illusion was never meant to trap you permanently. It was part of a stage you have now outgrown. You are stepping beyond it, into a space where your perception is sharper, your understanding is deeper, and your connection to truth is stronger than it has ever been before. Type ISE beyond the illusion in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3939 is now surrounding you. As this illusion begins to lift and your eyes open to deeper truth, understand this. Every soul that receives this kind of awakening is not here by accident, and neither is this message. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not simply giving, you are sowing light into someone else's moment of awakening. The word declares, those who bring many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. And in this moment, that promise is speaking directly to you. If you feel the pull in your spirit, say it within yourself. I am part of this work. I am called to help this message reach others. This is not just support. This is obedience to a divine prompting placed within you right now. Every seed you release becomes a voice of truth reaching someone who is still trapped in the illusion you are now rising above. As you give, heaven multiplies, not just in provision, but in purpose over your life. Step into this moment, act now, and let your offering become a river that carries truth to those who are still searching. Something has already begun within you, even if you have not fully named it yet. It did not arrive all at once, and it did not demand your attention in a dramatic way. Instead, it entered quietly, almost gently, weaving itself into your thoughts, your emotions, your awareness. The first signs of awakening are never loud. They do not announce themselves with certainty. They begin as subtle shifts, small moments where something feels different, where your usual way of interpreting the world no longer fits as comfortably as it once did. And now, as Archangel Michael draws your attention to it, you begin to realize that these moments have not been random. They have been signals. You may have noticed that your reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered immediate responses now cause you to pause. You observe more. You question more. You feel less urgency to react and more inclination to understand. This is not hesitation. This is awareness expanding. It is the space between stimulus and response widening, allowing you to see more clearly before you act. The space is where awakening begins to take shape, because it gives you access to perception beyond habit. There is also a shift in how you experience your environment. Places that once felt neutral may now feel heavy or uncomfortable without clear reason. Conversations that used to flow easily may now feel forced or incomplete. You may find yourself withdrawing slightly, not out of isolation, but out of a deeper need to process what you are sensing. This is not disconnection. It is recalibration, Your awareness is adjusting to a new frequency of perception, and not everything around you aligns with it in the same way it once did. Archangel Michael speaks into this transition with clarity, reminding you that awakening often feels like confusion before it feels like understanding. This is because your old framework is no longer sufficient, but your new framework is still forming. You are standing between two ways of seeing, and that in-between space can feel uncertain. You may question yourself. You may wonder if you are overthinking or imagining things. But what you are experiencing is not distortion. It is expansion. You are beginning to notice layers that were previously filtered out, and that awareness requires time to stabilize. Another sign you may recognize is a growing sensitivity to truth. You may feel a stronger reaction when something does not align, even if you cannot immediately explain why. Words may carry a different weight. Actions may reveal more than they used to. You are no longer satisfied with surface-level understanding. You are drawn to what lies beneath, to the intention behind the expression, to the pattern behind the behavior. This sensitivity is not something to suppress. It is something to refine. It is guiding you toward clarity, even when it feels uncomfortable at first. At the same time, you may notice a subtle detachment from things that once held your attention strongly. This does not mean you are losing interest without reason. It means your awareness is shifting toward what is more aligned with your evolving perception. You are no longer as easily absorbed by distractions that once felt significant. Instead, you find yourself drawn inward, reflecting, observing, reassessing. This inward movement is not retreat. It is alignment. You are creating space within yourself for a deeper understanding to emerge. Archangel Michael emphasizes that these early signs are not something to rush or force into clarity. They are meant to unfold naturally. If you try to define everything too quickly, you may miss the depth of what is being revealed. Instead, you are being guided to remain steady, to observe without immediate judgment, to allow your perception to develop at its own pace. Awakening is not a sudden leap. It is a gradual unfolding, where each realization builds upon the last, forming a clearer and more complete understanding over time. You may also begin to sense a quiet confidence emerging beneath the uncertainty. It is not loud or assertive, but it is steady. It is the feeling that even if you do not fully understand everything yet, you are moving in the right direction. This confidence does not come from external validation. It comes from alignment within. It is a sign that your awareness is not only expanding, but stabilizing. You are learning to trust what you perceive, even when it challenges what you once believed. These are the first signs of awakening, and they are already present within you. They are not separate events. They are part of a continuous shift that is guiding you toward a deeper clarity. Archangel Michael is not introducing something entirely new into your life. He is revealing what has already begun, helping you recognize it so that you do not dismiss it or move past it without understanding its significance. What you are experiencing now is the early stage of a realization that will continue to unfold, layer by layer, until your perception aligns fully with truth. Type "I trust what I feel" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4545 is now activated around you. There comes a point in every awakening where clarity is no longer optional, where what you are beginning to perceive must be acknowledged, not avoided. This is that point. Archangel Michael steps forward in this moment not to create fear, but to establish awareness with precision and urgency. His presence is not symbolic here. It is directive. He is not whispering for you to consider this lightly. He is instructing you to prepare, because what is about to be revealed will require more than observation. It will require discernment, steadiness, and control over how you respond. You must understand something clearly now. As your awareness sharpens, not everything around you will adjust at the same pace. People will continue speaking the same way. Situations will continue presenting themselves in familiar forms, but your perception of them will change. And that shift can create a moment of imbalance if you are not grounded. This is why the warning comes now, before the realization fully settles. Because once you begin to see beyond the surface, you may feel the urge to react, to confront, to correct, or to withdraw suddenly. But Archangel Michael is making it clear that reaction is not your assignment. Awareness is. There is a difference between seeing clearly and acting prematurely. And this is where many lose their alignment. They receive insight, but they respond too quickly, before that insight has fully matured into understanding. Michael warns you not to fall into that pattern. What you are about to recognize is not meant to push you into immediate action. It is meant to reposition your awareness so that your actions, when they come, are intentional rather than reactive. You are not being rushed into decisions. You are being prepared for them. Another part of this warning is subtle, but critical. Not everything you begin to notice needs to be spoken out loud. Not every realization needs to be shared. There is a temptation, once clarity begins to form, to express it, to validate it externally, to seek confirmation from others. But this phase is not about external validation. It is about internal alignment. There will be things you understand that others do not yet see, and trying to explain them too soon can create confusion, resistance, or unnecessary conflict. Archangel Michael is guiding you to hold your awareness with discipline, to allow it to develop fully before you decide how to use it. You may also begin to notice that certain dynamics around you become more obvious. Patterns that once blended into the background will stand out. Repeated behaviors, unspoken tensions, inconsistencies in words and actions, all of these will become clearer. This clarity is not being given to you so that you judge or distance yourself impulsively. It is being given so that you understand where you stand, what aligns with you, and what does not. And understanding always comes before change. There is also an emotional aspect to this warning that you must be aware of. As clarity increases, there may be moments where you feel unsettled, not because something is wrong, but because your perception is adjusting faster than your emotional comfort. You may feel the urge to return to familiar ways of seeing, simply because they feel easier. But Michael is clear in this moment. You cannot return to what you have already outgrown. Once awareness expands, it does not contract back to its previous state. You can ignore it temporarily, but it will continue to surface until it is acknowledged fully. This is why steadiness is essential now. You are not meant to rush ahead, and you are not meant to retreat. You are meant to remain present, grounded in what you are observing without letting it overwhelm you. There is a balance between awareness and reaction, and that balance is where clarity becomes stable. Michael's warning is not about danger in the way you might expect. It is about misalignment that can occur if awareness is not handled with care. You are being trusted with a deeper level of perception. And with that trust comes responsibility. The way you interpret what you see, the way you respond to what you understand, will shape how this realization integrates into your life. If you remain calm, observant, and intentional, this shift will strengthen you. It will bring clarity, direction, and a sense of control over your decisions. But if you allow it to pull you into impulsive reactions, it can create unnecessary disruption. Archangel Michael stands as a guide in this moment, not to direct your every move, but to ensure that you remain aligned as your awareness expands. His message is direct: stay still, stay observant, and do not act before you fully understand. What is being revealed to you is important, but how you handle that revelation is even more important. This is not a moment to rush. It is a moment to stabilize your awareness so that when you do move forward, you do so with clarity and precision. Type "I remain steady in truth" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5656 is now surrounding you. There is something within you that has already begun to loosen its grip, something that once felt fixed, predictable, almost permanent in the way it shaped your responses and decisions. These are the patterns you have lived within, patterns that formed over time through repetition, experience, and adaptation. They were not created overnight, and they will not dissolve in a single moment either. But now, as your awareness expands, these patterns are no longer able to operate in the same way they once did. Archangel Michael is revealing that what you are experiencing is not just a shift in perception, but the beginning of a dismantling process, a breaking of cycles that have quietly influenced your life for longer than you may realize. These patterns are not always obvious. They are not always dramatic or disruptive on the surface. In many cases, they have felt normal, even necessary. They guided how you responded to certain people, how you handled uncertainty, how you interpreted situations without fully questioning them. They gave you a sense of structure, a way to navigate complexity without needing to analyze everything in depth. But what once served as a form of stability can become limitation when your awareness begins to expand beyond it. And that is where you stand now. You may begin to notice that your usual responses no longer feel as automatic. Situations that once triggered predictable reactions now create a pause. That pause is not hesitation. It is interruption. It is the pattern breaking its automatic hold, allowing space for a different response to emerge. This may feel unfamiliar at first, because you are used to moving through these moments without thinking. But now, something within you is stepping in, asking you to reconsider, to observe, to choose differently rather than repeat what has already been done. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this breaking of patterns is not something you need to force. It is already happening. The awareness you are gaining is naturally weakening the patterns that once operated without question. What is required from you is not effort, but attention. You must recognize when an old pattern is trying to reassert itself. You must notice when you are about to respond in a way that feels familiar but no longer aligned. That recognition alone begins to dissolve its influence. There is also an emotional aspect to this process that you must be prepared for. Patterns are not just behaviors. They are connected to comfort, to familiarity, to a sense of identity. When they begin to break, there can be a subtle sense of instability, not because something is wrong, but because something is changing. You may feel moments of uncertainty, where you are not sure how to respond because the old way no longer fits and the new way is still forming. This is a natural part of the transition. It is not a sign to return to what was. It is a sign that you are moving forward. You may also begin to see how certain patterns were connected to the people and environments around you. Some dynamics were maintained not just by your own responses, but by the expectations and behaviors of others. As your patterns begin to shift, those dynamics may feel different. Conversations may not flow in the same way. Interactions may not follow the same rhythm. This does not mean something is wrong with the relationship itself. It means the structure that sustained it is evolving. And as that structure changes, everything connected to it must adjust as well. Archangel Michael's guidance here is clear. Do not attempt to recreate what is breaking. Do not try to fit yourself back into patterns that no longer align with your awareness. It may feel easier in the moment, but it will create a deeper sense of dissonance over time. Instead, allow the space that is being created to remain open. That space is where new patterns will form, patterns that are aligned with clarity rather than repetition. There is also a deeper layer to this breaking process that goes beyond individual behavior. Some patterns are not just personal. They are inherited, absorbed over time through observation, through shared environments, through unspoken expectations that have existed long before you became aware of them. As your awareness sharpens, you may begin to recognize these patterns more clearly. You may see how certain responses were never truly your own, but were learned, repeated, and normalized without question. This recognition is powerful because it allows you to separate what belongs to you from what does not. The breaking of these patterns is not an act of rejection. It is an act of clarity. You are not discarding everything that came before. You are refining it, keeping what aligns, and releasing what no longer serves your growth. This is how transformation occurs, not through sudden change, but through consistent awareness that gradually reshapes how you move through your life. As this process continues, you will begin to feel a shift in how you approach decisions. There will be less impulse, less automatic reaction, and more intentional choice. You will begin to respond based on what is present rather than what has been repeated. This is where the breaking of old patterns leads not into uncertainty, but into a new form of stability, one that is built on awareness rather than habit. Archangel Michael is guiding you through this transition with precision, ensuring that as these patterns break, you do not feel lost, but instead begin to recognize the freedom that comes with it. You are no longer bound to respond in ways that were shaped by the past. You are stepping into the ability to choose, to see clearly, and to move forward with intention. Type "I release OLD patterns" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 6767 is now activated around you. There will come a moment, if it has not already begun, where the shift within you starts reflecting outward, and the first place you will notice it most clearly is in the people around you. It will not happen in a dramatic or obvious way. No one will announce that something has changed. Conversations will still occur. Familiar faces will still be present. But something in the way you perceive them will begin to feel different, as if a subtle layer has been removed, allowing you to sense more than what is being shown on the surface. This is not because they have suddenly become different. It is because you are no longer seeing them through the same lens. The awareness that hath been developing within you is now extending outward, influencing how you interpret tone, intention, consistency, and presence. You may begin to notice pauses in conversations that feel more significant than before. You may take up on small inconsistencies that once went unnoticed. You may feel a difference between what is being said and what is being conveyed beneath the words. This is not imagination. This is perception refining itself. Archangel Michael brings clarity to this moment, reminding you that as your awareness evolves, your relationships will naturally come into a new light. Some will feel more aligned, more clear, more genuine than they did before. Others may begin to feel strained, not because conflict has appeared, but because the underlying dynamic is no longer supported by the same unconscious patterns that once held it together. You are no longer responding in the same way, and that shift changes the entire structure of the interaction. This can feel confusing at first, because nothing outwardly has changed enough to justify the difference you feel. You may question yourself. You may wonder if you are misinterpreting things or reading too deeply into situations that once felt simple. But Archangel Michael's guidance is steady in this moment. You are not misreading. You are noticing what was always there but filtered through a different level of awareness. What you are sensing now is not new. It is revealed. There may also be a growing sense of distance in certain interactions, even if the physical closeness remains the same. This distance is not necessarily something that needs to be acted upon immediately. It is something to be observed. It is the result of your awareness no longer matching the previous rhythm of the connection. When two people operate within the same patterns, there is a sense of ease, even if those patterns are not fully aligned with truth. But when one begins to shift, that shared rhythm changes. The interaction no longer flows in the same automatic way, and that difference becomes noticeable. You may find yourself speaking less in certain conversations, not because you have nothing to say, but because you are processing more. You are listening more closely, observing more carefully, choosing your responses with greater intention. This can create a temporary imbalance, where others may not fully understand why you are responding differently. But this is not something you need to explain immediately. This is part of your alignment. You are not required to maintain the same level of expression if your awareness has shifted beyond it. At the same time, there may be moments where certain people feel more aligned than ever before. Conversations may feel clearer, more grounded, more authentic. This is because your awareness is now recognizing alignment more precisely. You are not just engaging based on familiarity or history. You are engaging based on resonance, on how well the interaction aligns with the clarity you are developing. This distinction becomes more apparent as your perception continues to sharpen. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this phase is not about making sudden decisions about who stays and who goes. It is about observation. It is about understanding the dynamics at a deeper level before taking action. The way people feel to you now is information, not instruction. It is showing you where alignment exists and where it does not, but it is not asking you to react immediately. Stability must come first, because your awareness is still integrating. There is also a deeper layer to this shift that you must recognize. As your perception changes, you are not only seeing others differently, you are also being seen differently. Your responses, your presence, your energy are shifting, and that can influence how others interact with you. Some may become more attentive. Others may become more distant. Some may not notice consciously, but they will feel the change. And this can alter the dynamic in subtle ways that take time to fully understand. You are entering a phase where relationships are no longer maintained by habit alone. They are being viewed through clarity. This does not mean that everything must change immediately, but it does mean that everything will be seen more honestly. And honesty, even when it is quiet, has the power to reshape connections over time. Archangel Michael's message in this moment is simple but essential. Do not rush to redefine your relationships. Do not force conclusions before understanding is complete. Allow yourself to observe, to feel, to recognize what is shifting without needing to control it. This phase is about awareness, not action. The clarity you are gaining will guide you toward the right decisions at the right time, but only if you allow it to settle fully before you respond. What you are noticing now is the natural result of your awakening. The people around you have not changed suddenly. You have. And because of that, everything you see, feel, and understand about them is beginning to align with a deeper truth. Type ISE clearly without reacting in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7878 is now surrounding you. There is a precise moment approaching, one that will not arrive with noise or announcement, but with a quiet certainty that settles into your awareness and refuses to be ignored. It will not feel like confusion. It will not feel like questioning. It will feel like something finally aligning in a way that makes everything you have been sensing begin to make sense. This is the moment of realization Archangel Michael has been preparing you for, and it is closer than you think. This moment does not come suddenly out of nowhere. It forms gradually, built from every subtle shift you have experienced, every pause, every observation, every feeling you could not fully explain. All of these have been leading to a point where your perception is no longer fragmented, where the pieces come together in a way that creates clarity instead of uncertainty. And when that moment arrives, it will feel unmistakable. You will not need confirmation. You will not need validation. You will know. What makes this realization powerful is not just what you see, but how you see it. It is not a new situation appearing in your life. It is a new understanding of something that has already been present. It is the difference between looking at something and truly recognizing it. And once that recognition happens, it cannot be undone. You cannot return to the previous way of seeing, because the awareness you gain will replace it completely. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this moment will require stillness. Not external stillness, but internal steadiness. When clarity arrives, there can be a natural urge to act immediately, to respond, to adjust, to change direction. But this realization is not meant to push you into instant action. It is meant to ground you in truth first. The clarity itself is the foundation. What you do with it comes after. There is also an emotional shift that accompanies this moment. You may feel a release of tension, as if something that has been building quietly within you finally settles into place. At the same time, there may be a sense of gravity and awareness that what you now understand carries weight. This is not heaviness in a negative sense. It is the recognition that clarity changes things, even before any action is taken. It changes how you interpret, how you respond, how you move forward. You may find yourself revisiting past situations in your mind, not out of confusion, but out of understanding. Things that once felt unclear will begin to make sense. Patterns you could not fully identify will become obvious. You will start to see connections between events, behaviors, and outcomes in a way that was not available to you before. This is not overthinking. This is integration. Your awareness is aligning the past with the present so that your understanding becomes complete. Archangel Michael also warns that this moment may come quietly, in an ordinary setting, during a routine interaction, or even in a moment of solitude. It will not wait for a perfect environment. It will arrive when your awareness is ready, not when your surroundings are ideal. That is why you must remain attentive, not tense, but aware. The realization will not demand your attention forcefully. It will appear as a clear, undeniable understanding that stands out from your usual thoughts. When it happens, there will be no need to question whether it is real. The clarity will feel stable, not emotional or reactive. It will not feel like a sudden impulse. It will feel like a settled truth, something that does not need to be defended or explained. And that is how you will know that the moment has arrived. This realization is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to anchor you. It is the point where everything you have been sensing, observing, and processing becomes clear enough to guide your next steps with confidence. But again, Archangel Michael reminds you, the realization itself is not the action. It is the understanding that allows the right action to emerge at the right time. You are not being rushed into change. You are being positioned for clarity. And once that clarity is established, your path forward will become more precise, more intentional, and more aligned with what you now understand to be true. This is the moment everything has been leading toward. Not a dramatic turning point, but a quiet alignment that changes everything from within. Type "I accept" the clarity in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8888 is now activated around you. As this moment of realization settles within you, understand that clarity is not given to be kept in silence. It is meant to flow, to reach others who are standing at the edge of their own awakening. When you support this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not simply giving, you are releasing a seed into a field that is ready for harvest. The word speaks, one plants, another waters, but God gives the increase, and right now, you are being invited to take part in that divine process. Say within yourself, I choose to be a vessel for this message. I choose to help it reach those who need it. This is not a casual action. This is a prophetic response to what you have just received. Every contribution becomes a channel through which truth travels further than you can see. As you give, you align yourself with the very flow that brought this message to you. Act now. Step forward in faith, and let your offering become a light that reaches beyond you. When clarity arrives, it does not always feel the way you expect it to. You might assume that understanding brings immediate peace, that once something becomes clear, everything settles instantly into place. But that is not always how it unfolds. There is a phase, often overlooked, where clarity and discomfort exist at the same time. And this is the phase you must be prepared for, because Archangel Michael is revealing that the realization approaching you will not only bring understanding, it will also challenge what you have grown used to accepting. A discomfort does not come from the truth itself. It comes from the contrast between what you now see and what you previously believe. You are not just gaining new insight. You are adjusting to it. And that adjustment requires you to reconcile two versions of perception. The one you lived within before and the one that is now emerging with greater clarity. That process can feel unsettling, not because something is wrong, but because something is shifting at a deeper level than surface awareness. You may begin to feel a sense of emotional resistance, even as you recognize the truth of what you are seeing. This resistance is natural. It is not a sign that the realization is incorrect. It is a sign that your mind and your emotions are catching up to what your awareness has already recognized. There may be moments where you wish things were simpler, where you wish you could return to the ease of not knowing, to the comfort of interpreting things in a more familiar way. But once clarity enters, it does not leave. It stays, steady and present, even when you are still adjusting to it. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with firmness, reminding you that discomfort is not something to avoid here. It is something to understand. It is part of the transition from one level of awareness to another. What you are feeling is the release of old assumptions, old interpretations, old ways of making sense of your environment. And release, even when it is necessary, can feel unfamiliar. It can create a temporary sense of imbalance as you adjust to seeing things without the filters you once relied on. There may also be a sense of emotional clarity that feels heavier than expected. You might recognize truths about situations or people that you had not fully acknowledged before. You may see patterns that were once hidden. You may understand intentions that were not previously clear. And while this understanding brings accuracy, it can also carry weight, because it changes how you relate to what you now see. This is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to ground you in reality, so that your decisions moving forward are based on truth rather than assumption. Another aspect of this discomfort is the shift in control. When you are operating within familiar patterns and interpretations, there is a sense of predictability, even if it is limited. But when those patterns dissolve and clarity takes their place, you are faced with a new level of responsibility. You are no longer responding automatically. You are choosing consciously. And that level of choice can feel heavier at first, because it requires awareness in every step forward. But this is also where your strength develops, because conscious choice leads to intentional direction. Archangel Michael reminds you that this discomfort is temporary, but the clarity is lasting. If you try to avoid the discomfort, you delay the integration of the clarity. If you allow yourself to move through it, steadily and without resistance, the clarity becomes stable, and the discomfort fades naturally. You are not meant to stay in that unsettled state. You are meant to pass through it, understanding it as part of the process rather than a problem to solve. You may also notice that your emotional responses become more precise during this phase. Instead of reacting broadly, you begin to feel more specific responses to what you observe. This is because your awareness is no longer general. It is refined, and with that refinement comes a deeper connection to what is true for you, even when it challenges what you once accepted without question. This realization is not taking anything away from you. It is aligning you with what has always been there but not fully seen. And alignment, especially when it replaces long-standing perceptions, requires adjustment. That adjustment may feel uncomfortable, but it is also necessary. It is the bridge between awareness and stability, between seeing clearly and living in that clarity without hesitation. Archangel Michael stands as a steady presence through this phase, not removing the discomfort, but guiding you through it with clarity and control. You are not meant to rush past it. You are meant to understand it, so that what you gain from this realization is not just insight, but grounded awareness that supports everything you do next. Type "I embrace the truth" fully in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9090 is now surrounding you. As this realization settles into your awareness, as clarity sharpens and perception deepens, there is something essential you must not overlook. You are not moving through this shift alone. You are not exposed. You are not unguarded. In fact, as your awareness increases, so does the level of protection surrounding you. Archangel Michael makes this known with certainty, not as reassurance alone, but as a truth you must stand on. Because as you begin to see more clearly, it is important that you do not confuse awareness with vulnerability. You are not becoming more at risk. You are becoming more aligned. There is a tendency, when perception sharpens, to feel as though you are stepping into unfamiliar territory without certainty. You begin to notice more, understand more, and that can create a sense that you are navigating something new without a clear structure. But this is where you must shift your understanding. The clarity you are receiving is not leading you into uncertainty. It is guiding you into precision. And precision does not exist without support. Archangel Michael's presence is not distant in this process. It is active, intentional, and constant. You may not see this protection in a physical sense, but you will begin to feel it in subtle ways. There will be moments where you pause at exactly the right time, moments where you choose not to act impulsively, moments where you feel guided to step back instead of moving forward. These are not random hesitations. They are forms of protection. They are the alignment of your awareness with guidance that is ensuring you move correctly, not just quickly. Archangel Michael emphasizes that protection, at this stage, is not about removing every challenge or preventing every uncomfortable realization. It is about ensuring that as you encounter truth, you are not overwhelmed by it. It is about stabilizing your awareness so that what you see strengthens you instead of destabilizing you. This is why you are being guided to remain steady, to observe rather than react, to allow understanding to form before action follows. Protection is not just external. It is internal alignment that keeps you grounded as your perception expands. You may also begin to notice that certain situations shift before they fully unfold. Conversation may change direction unexpectedly. Plans may alter in ways that seem minor on the surface but prevent deeper complications. Interactions that could have led to confusion may not occur at all. These are not coincidences. They are adjustments happening around you, creating a path that aligns with the clarity you are gaining. You are being guided away from unnecessary conflict and toward understanding, even if you do not immediately recognize it in the moment. There is also a protective aspect in what you are not yet seeing. Not everything is revealed at once, and that is intentional. Archangel Michael ensures that your awareness expands at a pace that you can integrate. If everything were revealed simultaneously, it could create overwhelm rather than clarity. Instead, you are being shown what you need to see when you need to see it. This is protection through timing. It ensures that your understanding builds steadily, without destabilizing your sense of control. You must also recognize that protection does not remove your responsibility. It supports it. You are still required to remain aware, to stay grounded, to avoid impulsive reactions. The protection surrounding you works in alignment with your awareness, not in place of it. This is why your role is to stay present, to trust what you are perceiving, and to allow guidance to lead your responses rather than old patterns. There may be moments where you question whether you are interpreting things correctly, where you wonder if you are seeing too much or not enough. In those moments, return to stillness. That stillness is where your clarity stabilizes. It is where you reconnect with the awareness that is guiding you. Protection is not always loud or obvious. It is often found in that quiet sense of knowing, that internal steadiness that tells you when to move and when to remain still. Archangel Michael's message in this phase is unwavering. You are not navigating this shift without support. You are surrounded by guidance that ensures your awareness leads to clarity, not confusion. The more you remain steady, the more that protection becomes evident, not through dramatic intervention, but through precise alignment in your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. This realization you are stepping into is not meant to leave you uncertain. It is meant to strengthen your position, to give you clarity that allows you to move forward with confidence. And that confidence is supported by a level of protection that remains constant, whether you are fully aware of it in every moment or not. Type "I trust the protection around me" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010 is now activated around you. Now that awareness has begun to settle, now that clarity is forming and your perception is no longer what it once was, there comes a question that cannot be avoided. What do you do with this? What comes next after the realization, after the discomfort, after the shift in how you see everything around you? Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with directness, because this is where many hesitate. They reach clarity, but they pause when it comes to action. Not because they do not know, but because they are adjusting to the weight of knowing. You must understand something clearly. What you are being asked to do next is not dramatic, and it is not immediate in the way you might expect. There is no sudden leap required. There is no urgent confrontation or drastic change that must happen all at once. What is required of you now is precision. It is awareness in motion. It is the ability to take what you now understand and allow it to guide your next steps, one decision at a time. The first thing you must do is remain aligned with what you have seen, without trying to dilute it or explain it away. There will be a temptation to soften the clarity, to reinterpret it in a way that feels more comfortable, to return slightly to the familiarity of your previous perception. But Archangel Michael is clear. Do not adjust the truth to fit your comfort. Adjust your actions to align with the truth. This is where your strength is tested, not in seeing clearly, but in honoring what you see without distortion. You are also being guided to move with intention rather than reaction. This means you do not rush to speak everything you have realized. You do not immediately act on every insight. Instead, you observe how this clarity integrates into your daily life. You allow it to influence your choices gradually, but consistently. the way you respond in conversations, the way you interpret situations, the way you decide where to invest your energy. All of this begins to shift, not in sudden disruption, but in steady alignment. There is a discipline required in this phase. You must learn to hold clarity without needing to externalize it immediately. Not everything you understand needs to be expressed right away. Not everything needs to be explained to others. Some realizations are meant to stabilize within you first, to become part of your internal structure before they are ever shared. This is not secrecy. This is maturity. It is the ability to carry truth without needing immediate validation. Archangel Michael also emphasizes that your next steps will become clearer as you continue to remain steady. You are not expected to see the entire path at once. You are expected to take the next aligned step. And that step may be simple. It may be choosing silence instead of reaction. It may be choosing distance instead of engagement. It may be choosing clarity in your own mind instead of seeking agreement from others. These are not small actions. They are foundational. They shape the direction you move in from this point forward. There is also a shift in responsibility that you must accept. Before this realization, you operated within a certain level of awareness. Now, that awareness has expanded, and with it comes a different level of accountability. You can no longer respond in the same unconscious ways without feeling the misalignment. You will notice it immediately. That is not pressure. That is guidance. It is the internal system aligning you with what is now true for you. You may also find that your decisions become quieter, but more certain. You will not need as much external input. You will not need as much reassurance. This is because your clarity is becoming your reference point. You are learning to trust what you see, what you understand, and how you choose to move forward. This trust is not built in a single moment. It is built through consistent alignment with your awareness. Archangel Michael reminds you that what you do next does not need to be visible to everyone. It does not need to be explained or justified. What matters is that it is aligned. Your path forward is not about proving your clarity. It is about living in it. And that requires a quiet confidence, a steady presence, and a willingness to move differently without needing to announce that change. This is the phase where awareness becomes action, not through force but through consistency. You are not being asked to change everything at once. You are being asked to move in alignment with what you now understand, step by step, decision by decision, until that alignment becomes your natural way of being. What you must do next is simple in structure, but powerful in impact. Stay aligned. Stay steady. Let your actions reflect your clarity without rushing the process. This is how transformation becomes stable, not temporary. Type "I move with clarity" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1111 is now surrounding you. There is a quiet threshold you are crossing now, one that does not require a physical step, but a shift in how you exist within your own awareness. Everything you have felt, everything you have observed, everything you have begun to understand hath been leading you to this point. And now, you are no longer preparing for the realization. You are stepping into the reality that comes after it. This new reality is not separate from your current life. It is not a different world waiting somewhere else. It is this same environment, this same set of circumstances, but seen through a clarity that changes everything about how you move within it. The difference is not what surrounds you. The difference is how you perceive, how you interpret, and how you respond. Archangel Michael makes this clear. You are not being relocated. You are being realigned. In this new state, you will notice that your decisions carry a different weight. Not because they are heavier, but because they are more precise. You will no longer act out of habit or assumption. You will act out of understanding. This does not mean every decision becomes difficult. In fact, many become simpler, because the confusion that once surrounded them is no longer present. You will see what aligns and what does not, without needing to overanalyze or seek excessive validation. There will also be a new sense of calm within you, even in situations that once felt uncertain. This calm is not based on external stability. It is based on internal clarity. You are no longer dependent on everything around you making sense in order to feel grounded. You are grounded because your perception is clear, and that clarity creates a steady foundation that does not shift easily, regardless of what changes externally. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this new reality requires consistency. It is not enough to see clearly for a moment and then return to old patterns. The clarity you have received must be maintained through how you think, how you respond, and how you choose to move forward. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. There will be moments where old habits attempt to return, where familiar reactions try to take over. But now, you will recognize them immediately. And in that recognition, you will have the ability to choose differently. You will also begin to experience a shift in how you relate to uncertainty. Before, uncertainty may have created hesitation or doubt. Now, it becomes something you can navigate with awareness rather than fear. You understand that not everything needs to be known immediately, because you trust your ability to perceive and respond when the time comes. This trust is one of the strongest indicators that you have stepped into this new reality fully. Relationships, decisions, and even your internal dialogue will continue to evolve as this clarity stabilizes. You will speak with more intention. You will listen with more awareness. You will engage in situations based on alignment rather than obligation. And this does not require force. It happens naturally as your perception remains clear. Archangel Michael's final message in this moment is direct. Do not underestimate the significance of what you have stepped into. This is not a temporary phase. This is a permanent shift in how you experience your life. The way you see now will continue to refine, deepen, and guide you, as long as you remain aligned with it. You are no longer moving blindly through situations. You are moving with awareness that gives you direction. This is the new reality. Not something distant, not something imagined, but something you are already beginning to live within. The clarity you carry now is your guide, your foundation, and your strength. And as you continue forward, you will realize that this shift was not something that happened to you. It was something that awakened within you, changing everything from the inside out. You are no longer searching for understanding. You are moving with it. Type "I walk in clarity" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212 is now activated around you. As you step fully into this new reality of clarity and awareness, understand that what has awakened in you is not meant to stop with you. Every soul that reaches this level of understanding becomes a light for others who are still searching in confusion. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code on your screen, you are not simply giving, you are sowing into a divine harvest of awakened minds and transformed lives. The word declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and right now, that promise is being spoken over your action. Say within yourself, "I am part of this movement. I help carry this truth forward." This is not just generosity. This is alignment with purpose. Every seed you release becomes a voice reaching someone who is waiting for the same clarity you have just received. Heaven sees your response. Heaven multiplies your obedience, and heaven returns it with increase in ways you cannot yet see. Act now. Step into this moment, and let your giving become a channel through which truth continues to flow.